Good evening, I'm Juliana Colant.
And I'm Reese Thompson. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio.
The head of the Environmental Protection Agency is in East Palestine, Ohio, to see up close the scope of the toxic train derailment disaster, meeting with federal and state officials on their response to the growing environmental crisis.
And also hearing from fearful, angry residents who are scared to be in their own homes. Isabel Rosales has the latest developments.
We will continue to evolve with the situation and apply the necessary resources to ensure that people are protected. We are here for as long as it takes.
EPA boss Michael Regan is in East Palestine to meet with government officials responding to the toxic train derailment and meet with residents, many too scared to be in their homes.
People were getting sick. We should not have been let back into town until all of this was done.
Everybody that came here expects a hell lot more than what we're getting right now.
Tempers and fears were running high at a town hall Wednesday night, even as the EPA says it is closely monitoring air quality and has screened at least 450 homes for contaminants.
Why are people getting sick if there's nothing in the air or in the water?
In the days since the derailment, thousands of fish have turned up dead. Many worry that this controlled explosive release of chemicals from the train has contaminated the town. Officials say it needed to be done to prevent an uncontrolled disaster.
They screwed up our town, they're going to fix it.
Train operator Norfolk Southern says it will create a $1 million charitable fund and are already cleaning up the site and reimbursing affected residents.
We are absolutely going to hold Norfolk Southern accountable, and I can promise you that.
I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
Regan says the EPA has issued a notice of accountability to Norfolk Southern, which is the company signed, indicating that they understand that they are responsible for the cleanup.
While concerns are high for water safety in East Palestine, Athens Deputy Service Safety Director Andrew Chicky says residents can rest assured the water in Athens is not sourced from the same places as East Palestine. Chicky says the Safety Service Office has 3 distinct well fields below ground located near Armitage Road, West State Street Park, and Obletas Hospital. Some Athens residents question if the toxic chemical leak will affect the water in the city, to which Chicky says that instead of using the Hocking or Ohio River, the city's water wells pull from a sand and gravel aquifer about 30 to 60 feet deep. Before the water reaches faucets, Chicky says it goes through multiple tests.
We have an aggressive monitoring process in place beyond just regular routine testing that we do. We also have a wellhead protection team that meets monthly, and we assess and discuss threats to our city's wellhead area.
The team also has an extra layer of protection in the filtration provided by the ground to eliminate any additional chemicals.
We do need to keep reminding ourselves it is the middle of February, so these chilly and snowy days might be coming back. But recently it's been feeling a lot like springtime, as you can see here in Athens today with these warm and rainy conditions. It's 57 degrees right now, and we do have some thunderstorms and light rain in the area. It's also been pretty humid outside today, so the air's been feeling pretty thick and muggy. That's because of all this rain we've been seeing moving in from the west past Athens and to the east of us. We've been seeing some light to medium to heavy rainfall, and that is expected to continue, and that has expanded our flood watch in our area. And to the south of us, it does get a bit harsher, so there are some possibilities of some flooding this evening with the storms brewing up, but I'll get to that later in my full weather forecast. And as we look at our regional temperatures, we're looking at a range of some high 50s to lower 60s. In Athens, we're looking at 57, but I'll talk about if that's going to cool down or not this weekend in my full weather forecast.
A man is in custody after allegedly kidnapping, assaulting, and tasing his estranged wife on Tuesday in Blue Creek, Ohio. According to the Scioto County Sheriff's Office, a woman showed up to their office covered in blood and wanted to file a report. Deputies say the victim says her estranged husband, Matthew Shepard, held her against her will and assaulted her for several hours. The 36-year-old was arrested at his home where deputies found the taser and knife. Shepard is charged with 1 count of felonious assault and 1 count of kidnapping and is currently being held on a $120,000 bond.
Ohio House Speaker Jason Stephens and other Republicans released a list of priority legislation they want to pass this session. The list ranges from tax changes to economic development to vouchers and brings back a controversial proposal on banning trans athletes from girls' sports. Stephens cites 12 priorities out of more than 50 bills that were given numbers and referred to committees. Republican Derek Marin, who went up against Stephens for Speaker, says the majority who back him are excited about some bills, but will have their own list, saying there are missing gaps. All Democrats voted for Stephens, and Minority Leader Allison Russo said there are some points of agreement, but called some bills are, quote, extremist legislation. Business growth for 2023 is off to a strong start in Ohio, according to the Secretary of State's office. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose announced that there were 17,006 new business filings in January. That's the highest January numbers of business filings in Ohio history. A new business in Ohio can file for a license for $99, according to the Secretary of State's office, is lower than neighboring states. The application typically is processed in 24 hours.
Ohio University is set to hold discussions regarding the use of the ridges. Partners say they developed a plan for continued rehabilitation and preservation of the property, noting the historic Kirkbridge buildings. The community is encouraged to share their feedback regarding the ridge's development strategy. The meetings are scheduled for Monday and then again on March 24th from 10 a.m. to noon for the university community and noon to 2 p.m. for the Athens community located in the Ridges Building 14 on the 2nd floor. Visit ohio.edu/ridges for more info. Coming up after the break, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration is one step closer to dramatically improving access to Narcan. And Michigan State University continues to grieve after 3 students are shot on campus. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Why Chillicothe? Why this area? For some reason, this became a mecca for what was probably a religion, what we call Hopewell culture. We'll never know the reason that this was so important to certain people and why that developed, but it's certainly a beautiful place for it to have happened.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a charitable gift annuity is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
This is what we've all been waiting for after months of blood, sweat, and tears. It's finally here. Road to Dayton starts right now.
We've got 9 playoff games for you this week, 8 on the girls' side, including a TVC Ohio versus Hocking matchup and 1 boys squad fighting for the right to advance.
Of course, we'll have all the highlights and recaps of those games. There's only one place that you can find that. Right here, Sunday at 11 p.m. and Monday at 6 p.m. We'll see you there. And as always, we're reminding you to be heroic.
Welcome back. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is one step closer to improving access to a nasal spray version of the opioid overdose antidote Narcan.
Research shows that wider availability may save lives as opioid overdose numbers rose 17% in 2021. Mike Valero explains how this move could help save countless lives.
Where's your Narcan at?
Take a look at Narcan in action. Police in Cannon City, Colorado, saving a woman's life with 4 doses.
Oh, there you go. There we go. There we go.
Narcan works by blocking the effects of opiates on the brain for up to about 90 minutes, helping to restore breathing long enough to call an ambulance.
All voting members are in favor.
Now, the FDA is taking steps to improve access to the potentially life-saving drug. 2 advisory committees voted unanimously in favor of making a nasal spray version of Narcan available over the counter.
It's this thing that you want to have in your home for safety, and you hope never to have to use it.
The final decision will be up to FDA Commissioner Dr. Robert Califf. Right now, Narcan is available in many pharmacies with or without a prescription, but it's kept behind the counter. If approved, you could soon find it in vending machines, grocery stores, and gas stations across the country.
We really want to lower any and all barriers to having this life-saving medication on hand when the crisis happens.
The FDA says it's working with companies to simplify directions on the label to make it as easy as possible to use.
I strongly encourage anyone who is concerned that they might see an overdose to get a kit. You can save a life.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
According to the CDC, Ohio is one of the leading states in death rates from drug overdose, just over 47.
Another vigil was held last night on the campus of Michigan State University.
Those who gathered mourned the 3 lives lost in Monday's mass shooting and the 5 others who are critically wounded. And some are also calling for action towards the country's gun legislation. John Lorink reports.
And we honor them and their legacy.
MSU students, faculty, staff, and the community honored the memories of Ariel Anderson, Alexandria Verner, and Brian Frazier, who were shot and killed Monday night on campus.
Students all across the United States are probably thinking the same thing that I thought, that it probably one day is going to happen to them. I'm here today because I can't just sit there. I need to do something. Someone needs to do something.
The Gun Violence Archive and CNN define a mass shooting as an incident where at least 4 people are killed or injured by a gun, not including the suspect. According to the GVA, the MSU tragedy was the 67th mass shooting in the United States this year.
We shouldn't have to live like this. We shouldn't have to subconsciously scan every room for an exit. Go through the grim exercise of figuring out who our last call would be to.
On the same day as the MSU vigil, Texas police responded to a shooting at the Cella Vista Mall in El Paso. Authorities say at least 1 person is dead, at least 3 others are injured.
Preliminary information right now, we have 2 in custody. There is no more danger, and I want to repeat that, there is no more danger to the public.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott tweeted that he is offering El Paso officials the full support of the state. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Police have said the 43-year-old gunman at MSU revealed he had a history of mental health issues. Mandy Gaither has more on the healthcare system's effort to prevent these tragedies.
The images are heart-stopping and all too familiar.
I've seen firsthand so many times the effect of a bullet.
Emergency physician Megan Ranney says the trauma of gun violence not only affects victims, but their families, friends, first responders, and the community as a whole.
We don't have great solutions. What we have instead is this repetitive trauma that our kids are growing up under.
Randy says there are hurdles facing the healthcare system which don't help them help those in need. The first thing she says needs to change. Risk factors need to be recognized.
Physicians, nurses, physician assistants, they get no training right now in medical school or in other parts of health professional school about how to recognize risk for perpetrating gun violence against oneself or of perpetrating gun violence against someone else.
Even when there's a red flag, Ranney says many times the healthcare system lacks the tools to address it.
We know that there is a deficit of mental health providers in this country, so if we do recognize problems, we often lack the resources to refer a patient to.
And Ranney says many in healthcare don't always feel comfortable counseling patients about safe gun storage.
There's a role for the healthcare system, but it has to be embedded into kind of a larger cultural change about how do we recognize risk and then what do we do afterwards.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
We are 47 days into 2023, and according to the Gun Violence Archive, there has been 72 mass shootings. Used car prices are falling. That story's still ahead.
And the clouds have been rolling in today, but should we expect a storm tonight? Find out in my full weather forecast. And to stay up to date on the latest from Newswatch, you can check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Lucy Ware Webb was born here. As a young lady, as the wife of the governor, as the wife of the President of the United States, she's always the same person. Just a terrific lady. As residents of Chillicothe, we're very, very proud of her. To have a person of that character to represent this community, small as it is, in the White House.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift of securities is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
This is what we've all been waiting for after months of blood, sweat, and tears. It's finally here. Road to Dayton starts right now.
We've got 9 playoff games for you this week, 8 on the girls' side, including a TVC Ohio versus Hocking matchup, and 1 boys' squad fighting for the right to advance.
Of course, we'll have all the highlights and recaps of those games. There's only one place that you can find that. Right here, Sunday at 11 p.m. and Monday at 6 p.m. We'll see you there. And as always, we're reminding you to be heroic.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Kirsten had a lot of courage. She fought for Black culture.
They could have killed you. You're exactly what we need right now.
Oh my God.
What is this?
She was poisoned.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
I know the groundhog did say we were going to have 6 more weeks of winter, but honestly, that has just not been looking like the case here in Athens recently. We hit 70s the other day, and today we had a temperature high of 59, so it's been a lot warmer than your average mid-February winter day. And we had a low of 37, so it was much chillier this morning, and it did warm up as the day went on, and 100% chance of showers. So we've been seeing rain hit all of our area today, and that has upped our flood watch in the area and to the south of us. So there is a possibility that we're going to be seeing some flooding later on and some storms hitting later, and that could be pretty hazardous, but that rain is nothing new from what we saw today. We've had some light to medium to heavy rainfall from the west into our area and to the east, and the same thing on a wider scale. We've seen some light to medium to heavy rainfall southwest moving up into our area, and we have seen some snow to the west of us and to the north of us in the Great Lakes area, but none of that is going to be hitting us here in the near future. All we're really seeing tonight are a lot of showers, an overnight low of 37. It's going to get a lot cooler, but we aren't going to be seeing any snow. We're going to be seeing an increase in some gusty winds, but that's about it right now. But luckily, we're going to see all of this chaos diminish tomorrow. It's going to move into the east, and that's going to clear us up for some drier, more mild conditions this upcoming weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to have a temperature high of 38, so that's the coolest we've seen in a little while, with a low of 23. And you can see here we do have a chance of some rain and snow, but the only time that we could be seeing some snow would be in the morning, and that's going to go away as the day goes on. And it's going to dry up, get a lot warmer this weekend. We're going to be back up to 45 on Saturday with a partly sunny day and a low of 30. And we're back into the 50s on Sunday with a high of 55 and a low of 39. So it's going to warm up for us this weekend. As we move into the work week next week, on Monday, we're in the 50s still with another chance of showers and a low of 30. We're going to see that trend continue into Tuesday. We're going to bump up to 55 with a low of 38. Another chance of a rainy day, and that's the same thing on Wednesday. Some more rainy skies. We got a high of 58 and a low of 42, and it's going to get even warmer on Thursday. It's going to be another chance of showers with a high of 66 and a low of 41. So be careful with these storms coming in, but it's going to brighten up this weekend.
Thanks, Peyton. Good news for those wanting or needing to buy a used car. Prices are falling, but that's not the case for new cars.
Cole Higgins looks at what is behind the price swings and why your insurance premium is likely to go up.
After years of low inventory and soaring prices, the cost of a used car fell nearly 2% in January, according to the Consumer Price Index. And data from Edmunds shows the average price of a used car in December was down $1,600, costing consumers about $29,533. If you're looking to take advantage of the drop, experts say do your research first.
Being mindful and also being conscious of the vehicle and trying to get an extensive history of that vehicle is probably most important.
Experts say higher interest rates are making it more expensive to finance a car purchase, which is limiting demand. An increase in the supply of critical parts like computer chips is also pushing down prices, and President Joe Biden has pushed to expand chip manufacturing at home to prevent future shortages.
We're opening factories in your states to build semiconductor chips and electric vehicles and advanced batteries that's going to power those vehicles.
When it comes to new cars, prices rose 0.2% in January and were up 5.8% year over year, the Consumer Price Index shows. And car insurance premiums are also climbing. According to Bankrate's annual True Cost of Auto Insurance report, the average cost of full coverage insurance has reached more than $2,000 a year nationally. That figure is up nearly 14% from last year. Bankrate says years of high inflation resulting from labor and part shortages drove up the cost of insurance claims for car repairs. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
Coming up in sports, girls high school basketball tipped off tournament play. Find out how the teams around the 7-4-0 fared when Newswatch returns. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
We are at Adena Mansion and Gardens. This is where Ohio history began. They're in their writing talking all night long about what they wanted Ohio to be. What type of state did they want Ohio to be? They wrote the Constitution, came out and saw the sun coming up over the Mount Logan Range. That is the inspiration for the Great Seal of Ohio.
This is what we've all been waiting for after months of blood, sweat, and tears. It's finally here. Road to Dayton starts right now.
We've got 9 playoff games for you this week, 8 on the girls' side, including a TVC Ohio versus Hocking matchup, and 1 boys' squad fighting for the right to advance.
Of course, we'll have all the highlights and recaps of those games. There's only one place that you can find that. Right here, Sunday at 11 p.m. and Monday at 6 p.m. We'll see you there. And as always, we're reminding you to be heroic.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Kirsten had a lot of courage. She fought for Black culture.
They could have killed you. You're exactly what we need right now.
Oh my God.
What is this?
She was poisoned.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Aiden Crowley. Ohio girls high school playoff basketball is here with many around the 7-4-0 trying to survive and advance. We'll start in Pomeroy where the Marauders took on the Oak Hill Oaks. Megs came in as the higher seed and it showed its dominance from start to finish. The Marauders forced 29 turnovers on defense, leading to easy points on the other end of the court, coasting to a 63-10 win in the opening round. Megs advances to play the Portsmouth Trojans Saturday, February 18th at 1 p.m. The Federal Hocking Lancers and the Alexander Spartans had a closer matchup that came down to the final seconds. Both sides struggled out of the gate on the offensive side of the ball, closing the first quarter 14-10. The Lancers found their stride in the second quarter and went into the locker room up 21-14. The Spartans battled back in the second half, hoping to avoid elimination. Alexander knocked down this three with just 2 seconds left to make it a 3-point game, but Federal Hawking held on to the lead and escaped with a 40-37 win. Over to Waterford, where the defending state champions started their quest for a repeat against the Southern Tornadoes, and the Wildcats looked poised for glory. Dominating on both sides of the ball in a huge win, Waterford held Southern to just a single basket in the first half, 31-2. And that lockdown defense continued in the second as the Wildcats suffocated the Tornadoes 49-5. Waterford now looks to take their next step against the Marystown Wildcats. Joe Richards and the Trimble Tomcats hit the road to Paint Valley to take on the Bearcats. Paint Valley went on an 8-0 run to start the game and set the tone for the entire night. The Bearcats went up 23-12 at the end of the first half, with the Tomcats trying to claw back into it. But out of the break, the Bearcats stretched their lead to 17 to take full control over the contest. Paint Valley walked away with a 48-20 win, bouncing the Tomcats out of the tournament. And finally, out to Reedsville, where we had probably the most intriguing matchup of all, the Eastern Eagles taking on the Eastern Eagles. Reedsville's strong defense took over the first quarter, holding Pike to just 3 points. In the second, Sidney Reynolds and company took over and never looked back, flying up and down the court, scoring buckets in transition. The green and white soared in the first round, taking home a 62-25 win. Now, the Reedsville Eastern Eagles travel to Chillicothe, to take on the Paint Valley Bearcats on Thursday, February 23rd. Jumping up to the collegiate level, the Ohio women's basketball team's hope of a MAC tournament berth is slipping away. The Bobcats came up short against the top-seeded Ball State Cardinals 78-53. The story of the game was in the second quarter, with Ball State outscoring Ohio 26-8 in those 8 minutes to take a strong lead heading into the locker room. The Cardinals used that momentum to grow their lead in the second half, but Yaya Felder continues to be a bright spot for Ohio. The MAC's leading scorer dropped another 19 points in the loss. And guys, just dropping back a little bit, it's an amazing time in sports right now with March Madness and then high school sports right around the corner. It's awesome.
Such an exciting time, and I can't wait to see how Ohio does. Moving on.
Yes, now let's toss it over to Peyton with a look at our final weather.
Yeah, guys, those storms are definitely going to be on the stronger side tonight, and those gusty winds that we saw earlier, they're only going to get gustier, but you're not going to blow away or anything. It's going to go away tomorrow. It's going to be on the milder side. We're going to have a temperature high of 38 degrees and a low of 23, so it's going to cool down quite a bit tomorrow with a possibility of some snow in the morning. And we're going to be back up into the 50s by the end of this weekend.
And finally tonight, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile made a surprise visit to Court Street today. The 27-foot fiberglass sausage driver parked it in the front of the Athena Cinema to grab food from Chipotle. But when he returned, the vehicle was left with a souvenir, a $15 parking ticket. Even the Wiener on Wheels has to obey the Athens traffic laws. The vehicle tours year-round and will be in New Boston, Ohio tomorrow for an event at the Walmart Supercenter.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Reese Thompson.
And I'm Juliana Colant. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
This is what we've all been waiting for after months of blood, sweat, and tears. It's finally here. Road to Dayton starts right now.
We've got 9 playoff games for you this week, 8 on the girls' side, including a TVC Ohio versus Hawking matchup and 1 boys squad fighting for the right to advance.
Of course, we'll have all the highlights and recaps of those games. There's only one place that you can find that. Right here, Sunday at 11 p.m. and Monday at 6 p.m.